Today we're going to be making a standard solution using a volumetric flask and learn some procedures dealing with the volumetric flask. Before we can make the standard solution though, we were given what solid solute that we would be using, which happens to be sodium chloride. The molarity that we're trying to make today is a 0.01 molar solution. So we had to do some calculating before we began. And as we did that, we determined that it was going to take 0.146 grams of our solid solute, sodium chloride, to make our standard solution. So we went to the balance and we massed out our sodium chloride. Before we start though, we should always make sure that our glassware is clean, so we could swirl a little bit of the solvent in here, which happens to be deionized water today, to clean that out. We're going to add some of the deionized water to the volumetric flask, about a fourth to a third full, and we're going to use that to dissolve our initial amount of solid solute. So I have my solid solute here on my weighing paper. I'm going to swirl here, but also you can see some of the solid solute stuck to the neck of the container. So I'm going to put the cap in here. Get as much of that solid solute out of the neck as I possibly can. Then I'm going to continue to swirl until I make sure that my solute is dissolved. Now at this point we need to get to the correct volume. This is a 250 ml volumetric flask, and it's probably very difficult to see, but there's a very fine line on the neck which represents that particular volume. And we need to fill our solvent, our deionized water, up to that mark with the bottom of the meniscus touching it. So we're going to very carefully add our deionized water. Now, as it starts to fill up towards the neck, of course, it starts to get closer and closer faster. So we need to be careful not to go past. Just a drop more. And our meniscus is touching the line. But now we need to make sure that our solution is well mixed. So once we've done that, we place the cap back on. You notice I keep my fingers over the cap. And we invert the solution a few times. And there we have a standard 0.01 molar sodium chloride solution, 250 mils. There are different volumetric size flasks, and so we could use other sizes depending on how much solution we need to make. So that is using our volumetric flask to make a standard solution.